Yo, it's your boy Jacob. Tonight, we're going over why I'm suing the city of Albert Lea, Minnesota. You'll see behind me here is our brief timeline of major events. There's really not much else here yet. It's an ongoing matter in the courts. We've taken the positions both up in the district court and the appellate court, and I'll make separate videos going over the details of each case later on. To start, we're just going to go over a timeline, bring up some references, maybe show you some of the news articles, go over some of the laws, both city and state, and kind of go over some of my thoughts. And yeah, I think that sums it up. Not much else to say about this. I'm going to minimize my camera quick. So as you saw, we start August 8th, 2023. The city council passes ordinances to bring cannabis smoking in line with tobacco smoking in regards to public spaces. December 11th, 2023, the city council passes open container rules bringing THC beverages in line with open container rules for alcohol. May 13th, 2024, the city council passes short-term moratorium on adult businesses, including cannabis and a few other businesses, to give themselves more time to develop regulations and zoning ordinances. September 9th, 2024, the city council then passes those regulations and city zoning ordinances. I believe I was there for that meeting. May 27th, 2025, the city council unanimously passed their plan on how to approve cannabis city registrations, notably on a first come, first serve basis that is relevant, and I will definitely be bringing up that later on. July 17th, 2025, I am the first cannabis retail store to get a license in the state of Minnesota. In fact, here is my license, the smoking tree right here. You can kind of see it, too reflective to really show. Cool, right? The funny thing about that is they put my house address on it, so I had to have them reprinted. I paid my city registration fee the same day. Notably, the mayor hugs me and tells me he wanted a locally owned store for one of the two spots here in Albert Lea, Minnesota. So he says that to my face, and then just over 10 days later, on July 28th, I still have the minutes, the agenda for the city council meeting. The mayor votes against me. Gotta love politicians, right? They all lie to your face, all to keep their power, no matter how little power it is. The city council and mayor vote against my city registration, breaking both the state laws and their very own first come, first serve ordinance. You'll see that at one point here, I was in the Albert Lea Tribune, down here on the corner. It says Albert Lea set to register its first cannabis retailer. So we thought. And then on August 11th, the city manager, Patrick Rigg, aka Ian Rigg, went on a personal and seemingly discriminatory and defamatory rant about me and my application. The application didn't get any votes. It died on the table. Yet, the city council approved 2 other cannabis businesses. Now, why might that be relevant? You'll see. I believe it's only my personal opinion that I was discriminated against and that the city stacked the deck against me, and I'll even show you files that will back that up. Carrying on, later on in August of 2025, I sued the city of Albert Lea in the appellate court. The propaganda outlet, that is the city paper, the Albert Lea Tribune, wrote a bunch of hit pieces on me and attacking my business. And I told Sarah Stoltz of the Albert Lea Tribune that writing these hit pieces on me might end up with me hanging in a tree. And she did not seem to care as far as I could tell. But what can you expect from citizens from Albert Lea, the same city that held what appeared to be the biggest KKK rally in the history of Minnesota? I have another video in my podcast series where I interview a local historian and actually cover the Ku Klux Klan's ties to Minnesota. You might be shocked to learn about how strong they were. Carrying on, in September of 2025, I sued the city of Albert Lea also in the district court. The appellate court is a writ of certiorari, and the district court is a writ of mandamus. One is basically reviewing finalized decisions, the appellate court matter, and the district court matter is compelling the city to do something. They might kind of end up with a similar, same-ish result, but they achieve that through different means. I will cover more of that in following videos when I cover the petitions for either matter. Now, more recently, on September 17th, 2025, the district court did make findings that listed, amongst other things, that the city of Albert Lea broke state laws and their own city ordinances. For the unengaged, ordinances are basically city laws, and that I have suffered a public wrong that was injurious due to being unable to operate, thus causing me to have unrealized revenue. So let's dive right into the city ordinances here in Chapter 5, Cannabis Products. Article 1 is the administrative stuff. Article 2 is registration of cannabis businesses. Article 3 is lower potency hemp, which I'm not about. Article 4 is temporary cannabis events. None of those are relevant right now to us. As you can see, I just kind of searched cannabis to get here. 5.023, registration application procedure. Fees, not really relevant. All the fees were paid for. I have the receipt to even show it. But it was certified and verified by the city clerk, Daphne Morris. Shout out Daph. She seems pretty chill. Section B here, application submittal. You have to adhere to these requirements, blah, blah, blah. I did all of this. Include with the form. I did all of this. All of that. Approval. There would be no approval if it exceeds the maximum number of registered retail businesses permitted in the city. Since I was the first in the city and the first in the state, you couldn't get more first come, first served than that. So, yeah. Now, the real kicker is right here, is 5.030 selection criteria. The city will register cannabis businesses on a first come, first served basis, which will be based solely on time-stamped state of Minnesota OCM-issued license. I was weeks ahead of almost all of the competition, especially in my local city, considering my matter was heard on July 28th, and the other two were heard weeks later on August 11th. Part 2, not have a history in the last 24 months of being past due in property taxes, development agreements, local development loans, assessments, or municipal utilities. I met that requirement and is not in violation of local ordinances or state laws. I also met that requirement. So there you have it, the in the nutshell version of the city ordinances. Then we have local control, Min Stat 342.13. A local, I won't read section A, but section B is kind of the important one here. Except as provided in section 342.22, which we will read next. A local unit of government may not prohibit the establishment or operation of a cannabis business or hemp business license under this chapter. And that is me. It does say in section 8 that they may limit the number of licensed retailers to no fewer than one for every 12,500 residents. And the converse of that would be true, that they are not allowed to deny them if they have not met their 1 per 12,500 residents, which since I was the first, they have not. And then section I kind of backs it up. If a county has 1 active registration for every 12,500, a city or town within the county is not obligated to register a cannabis business. Oh, my county had none. So there you go. Now we have 342.22, retailers, local registration and enforcement. The meat and potatoes for my matters right here in subdivision 3, issuance of registration, subsection A. A local unit of government shall issue a retail registration to a cannabis microbusiness with a retail operations endorsement. Yada, yada, yada. I'm a micro business. I'm not a mezzo. I'm not a retailer. I'm not medical combination. There you go. And then the key word here is shall. In legalese, shall means it is mandatory, that it must happen. It is not may. So right here is kind of the crux of our argument for the lawsuits, is that the state is telling the city, the local governments, that they shall issue a registration, and they didn't do it. Pretty black and white. Anyways, here's the city council and mayor. So let's go over this quick. If you go to the website, let me type it in quick, just so you have the URL, cityofalbertlea.org/government/city-council. You will come to this page where you can click everyone's name, get their phone numbers, emails, and addresses. Now, why would you want to do that? Because I know a lot of you are going to want to reach out to my local government, and if you do, please be courteous and respectful. Yes, in the olden days, you'd bring out the guillotine or tar and feather a politician for not abiding by the will of the people. Remember, the government is by the people, for the people. But it's the modern era, people. We have to be professional. Anyways, let's go over the 3-4 vote that ended not in my favor. The mayor, Rich Murray, who hugged me, voted against me. Rachel Christensen of Ward 1 voted against me. Larry Baker of Ward 2 voted against me. Jason Howland of Ward 3 voted for me. Reed Olson of Ward 4 voted for me. Keith Van Beek of Ward 5 voted against me. Brian Anderson of Ward 6 voted for me. One of these people, I'm not going to name who, on a phone call actually admitted that they were intending to pass my vote, but that someone forgot the mayor was going to vote no. So they failed at posturing themselves. Their words, not mine. It's just my opinion of a recollection of an event in first-person conversation I personally experienced. Is that objectively true or not? I have no way of verifying other than this one council member's conversation with me about the matter. Additionally, we have the city manager, Ian Rigg, here in his contact information. He is also one of the culprits, as well as the city attorney, Joel Holstad, who is actually from Iowa. So I'm not really sure why he's the city attorney up here in Minnesota. And I'm sure he wouldn't want his photo on here because if you saw it, you'd probably turn to stone. Anyways, let's back out of that go to this. And this is the city council agenda for August 11th. This is page 1. On page 2, you'll see new business, the cannabis micro registration for Matchbox Farms, the cannabis micro registration for Black Husky. This person's from New Mexico. This person's from Washington. So instead of giving the registration to me, the local, who's had over 4 generations of family born and raised in Albert Lea or the surrounding towns, they gave it to people who are going to siphon the money out of state that might not even hire locally, that don't even live here. I live here. I have family here. I have friends here. I grew up here. And I would hire local and keep the money not only within this great state of Minnesota, but in Albert Lea. But notice how they stack the deck against me. They put these two first and then put me afterwards. Even though this is my second time being here, meaning I should have been on page 1 of unfinished business. What a very slimy tactic. Ooh, that is very upsetting. Again, feel free to write respectfully to my local city government. So let's kind of dive into this. My feelings on this are, once again, we're a nation by the people, for the people. We have checks and balances on our 3 branches of government so that one branch, in this case the executive branch, doesn't act with plenary authority, doesn't act like kings, like dictators, like despots, like tyrants. But alas, that's all they seem to be. I grew up respecting officers, judges, city councilors, and mayors, and as I've become an adult, and I'm only in my late 20s, as I've been going through adulthood, young adulthood, it's like meeting the Wizard of Oz. The curtain has been pulled back, and I'm realizing that all these people in positions of power, all these people of authority, are nothing more but flawed humans, and that my trust in them has been misplaced. That the very people that I have been counting on to do the right thing and uphold our rule, our laws, and everything that makes our nation great, have been doing so not to make our nation great, but to line their own pockets and insert their own agendas into every ruling they make. I have been nothing but disappointed in this, heartbroken, and truly left feeling like I have been discriminated against. These people should be ashamed of themselves and their mischaracterizations of me, the matter at hand, and their outright lies. Joel likes to say that the city taxpayer of Albert Lea, the citizens of Albert Lea that pay taxes, shouldn't have to worry about their taxes being spent on this. But the reality is that even if you're a government, whenever you use your insurance, it goes up. You pay more in the rates and premiums. It's just an objective fact. I ask, how much do you expect to pay in insurance rates and premiums after your insurance has to pay me out possibly multiple millions of dollars? Do you think the taxpayers are going to be okay with that? Because we, the people, the taxpayers that pay your salaries, are ultimately going to be the ones that fund all of this bullshit. And that's all it is. Very disappointing. The city officials have tainted not only the reputation of our great city, but the reputation of our local government, our state government, and their own family names. I would be ashamed to be an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a parent, a niece, a nephew, a cousin, or a daughter or son to any of these clowns. I would be ashamed to show my face in public. These people acted like nothing but idiots, imbeciles, morons that wanted to insert their personal agenda instead of doing their job, doing their due diligence, and doing what is right by us, the citizens. It does not matter who you are. Every citizen in this great nation has a right to be an entrepreneur, break the chains of wage slavery, and start a business. Period. Frankly, and I'll leave you with this, the clowns of our city government here in Albert Lea have demonstrated beyond a reasonable doubt that they are unfit for office and unfit to hold any iota of power over their fellow human. They should be voted out, to say the least. The absolute least. With that, I will wrap everything up. Like, share, sub. Let me know how you feel. Every business owner should be shaking in their boots because of this. And the reality is I've received so many encouraging messages from business owners across the globe, the nation, the state, and especially here in Albert Lea. And a lot of the locals have shared that they too have run into just ridiculous amounts of red tape when trying to expand a business, start a business, whatever. The city manager wanted to say, or was it the mayor? Probably both. Wanted to act like the rumors about our city government keeping our town small were untrue, that they are apparently unfriendly towards new business. But lo and behold, what do we have here? You literally broke the law, the state law, and your own city law that you passed unanimously to prevent a minority-owned, locally operated business from starting up. That's not being pro-business. That's not being pro-business at all. Good night. Yo, hold up, we're back. I just wanted to say on a positive note, I'm wearing my Education is Harm Reduction shirt. I know I get told a lot to dress more professionally, dress a little bit cleaner, but this is a shirt I'm proud to have made in collaboration with Dr. Riley Kirk, a cannabis scientist. She's been on my podcast a couple of times, recently had a child. Congrats to her. By all means, an amazing woman, an amazing scientist, amazing educator. But I really want to stress that education is harm reduction, and that if you educate your people, they're less likely to use substances irresponsibly. Again, like, share, sub. Let me know if you want to see these shirts made. I just made one for her and I. Peace.